I mean, I cried during the Take On Me.
I mean, it was incredible acting.
And I thought
and Bella Ramsey did play the guitar.
And they're a very good singer. Yeah. I had no idea.
I did really like the torture scene. I mean, it was hard to watch, but just like
a great little
Jeffrey
monologue.
Wright is just so good in everything.
He's great.
When they get to the news station, that was the most video gamey I think the show has been. Where I
like that John was like, "Oh, lovely guitar sequence." I was like, when he tortured that dude, and you're like, when those people were hanging and their intestines were out.
I love to see some eviscerated people, dude. Welcome back to the break room. Hey, it's time to stroll around the overgrown streets of Seattle. Check out the sights. Stop by the local news station. Hit up a cool indie record shop. Oh, what's this? A guitar? You don't mind if I do a little strumming, do you? Hit that graphic.
I do mind.
Yeah, I always mind. Don't be that guy at that party.
You already have a top knot, Brandon.
It's true. I do.
Yeah, you're really
strumming.
Everybody here at Breakroom has a Helix mattress, and we love it. It's one of the perks of working with Helix for years, and I swear to you, whenever I gotta travel or sleep in some other bed that is not my own, I notice the mattress is just not Helix quality. Finding your perfect mattress is so easy thanks to Helix's sleep quiz. Just answer a few questions and you'll get a mattress that's the perfect firmness and temperature for you. I wanted a medium firm mattress with lumbar support that sleeps cool, and I got matched with the Dusk Luxe Helix mattress. I've had it for years now, and it's fantastic. Before Helix, it would take me forever to fall asleep, and I'd never really wake up feeling that rested. Now I fall asleep so fast, and I wake up feeling great every single day. Helix has something for everybody. They offer 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections, Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers, and the Helix Kids mattresses. And if you're not ready to replace your mattress just yet, but you want to layer some Helix comfort on top, you can, thanks to Helix's new mattress topper collection. Producer Evan got himself a premium mattress topper, and he's been loving flopping down on it after a long day of streaming. Helix delivers right to your door with free shipping in the US. The mattress comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself. I love my Helix, and I think you will too. From now until the end of May, you can take advantage of Helix's Memorial Day exclusive partner offer. You'll get 27% off site-wide, plus a free bedding bundle with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Just click the link in the description below to get started, and thanks again to Helix for sponsoring this video. That's right, it's the after show right here on the break room. We're back today to discuss episode 4 of The Last of Us season 2, day 1. That was a lot of numbers, and I got confused. I'm Brandon Barrick. Joining me today, he cooks all of his human meat on copper pans. It's John Costa.
They have good heat retention. What are you supposed to do? And the inside is lined with tin. Just so you know.
Not good heat retention, but
conductivity. Convection. Is that the right word?
Conductivity. The cast iron.
I think that a little bit of that was a little.
Oh, you're right. That's what you want to take camping. You want to take cast iron camping.
Or torturing.
Let's do some tests. Also joining us today, she knows all the lyrics to Take On Me. It's Gina Ippolito.
Clickety-clacking away.
Those are the lyrics.
Click, 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 click.
We do need
what to say.
Take on Me, the clicker remix is pretty good.
I want to see it. Clack, clack, clack. There's just a lovesick little smart clicker sitting there like.
Oh, smart clicker.
Click, click, click.
Yeah, what's the smart clicker gonna come back, or the smart little infected one?
I want to see them.
Stalker.
They can say one.
Stalker,
or
is that
two
what they call it? Did they call it something in the show, or is that what all the video game nerds are like?
Stalker.
It's a stalker.
Take a restraining order out against those things.
Hey, you're right.
Because they didn't say a name, right?
No, they kind of are referring to them as like the smart ones.
Yeah.
Oh, the smart one.
But they're eventually gonna call it a stalker, is what you're telling me.
Who knows?
Is it because they grow stalks out of their head, but they're also highly intelligent, so it works on 2 levels?
Interesting, Gina. Go back to those lyrics for Take On Me.
Let's talk about this episode. Quick little recap. It's day 1 in Seattle for Ellie and Dina. They traverse the city a bit, hit up a pharmacy, check out a record shop, and fall in love. Isabella Merced,
how do you not fall in love with Isabella Merced? Jesus Christ.
They talked about it in the Aftershow too, but it's just incredible.
Listen, we've all been there where someone takes out a guitar at a party and you're like, oh god, this guy. And you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm into it after a few more.
And this is I don't know where Dina came from necessarily, but
someone's hiding an ice inside of the guitar.
I don't know where Dina like came from in like the story, but like for someone born in this world, right? Anytime seeing like live music played, well, it's probably like impressive.
Yeah.
right?
She's probably like, I only thought the music came out of the magic box.
I mean, they
Like,
had people at the
what's
dance,
a rainbow flag?
right?
What's a
I don't know that they
guitar?
have rainbow
What's a
flag.
dog?
Yeah, that rainbow flags comment.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. It makes sense. We'll get to
It
that.
doesn't.
They're very sheltered. They lead a sheltered, zombified life.
So Dina falls in love. We also meet Isaac, and then a really excellent cold open. Find out how he came to his like leadership position within the WLF. Dina and Ellie come upon a massacre of wolves at the hands of the Seraphites. Turns out the Seraphites aren't so nice. And after a thrilling subway escape, Dina learns about Ellie's immunity, and Ellie learns about Dina's baby. Adorable little episode. Happy to see some like action back in it. You know,
Yeah.
episode 3 did not have any infected, but this one had plenty of infected. And some incredible set pieces. I mean, that underground metro station.
yeah.
They talked about
That
in
was
the
the
Aftershow.
most video gamey of all of
Yeah,
it.
they built it like in an old paper mill that already had train tracks in it, so they could like move in actual subway cars.
Oh, that's cool.
But like,
That's like our building.
pretty
We used
much.
to build cars in this building.
Yeah.
But like, all I could think about with that set was like they built this for one episode. Like that's nuts.
They built many things for this one episode.
Yeah,
the
the
TV
TV
station was
station.
built just for this episode. That was built because it mirrors the game almost. They didn't
Yeah.
find that location. The theater, same thing. Massive soundstage built. They'll be in the theater
Listen,
a lot, but
HBO
like,
budgets are insane.
very
House of
impressive.
the Dragon, Game of Thrones, even the rehearsal. I rewatched the rehearsal season 1, which if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Even that, I'm like, God, they have so much disposable income.
But
They
that
can just-
that whole season probably cost one Game of Thrones episode, right?
that is true, but for something that's like as weird
For your
and-
cheap
you're
comedy.
and
Well,
technically a comedy.
Yeah.
Like the rebuilding of the sets, and then like at some point they get like a liquor license, like
Right,
just
right.
to be able to. I was like, this is
Right. Oh my
all
gosh,
very
so funny.
expensive.
And they kept that set.
Yes,
again
and they
in season
flew it
2.
out at some
It's
point. It was
really incredible.
different.
And you know the thing about the rehearsal too is that like
This is not a
man,
rehearsal after show.
no, I'm
when
just
we-
saying HBO has the budgets.
Evan and I were in Vegas and we were checking out all of like new filmmaking technology and stuff. And like video walls was like the theme of this year of NAB. And man, they're not cheap. And so to have that video wall for them in the rehearsal, I was like, that is an expensive ask.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, HBO is just like, dump a bunch of money into this and let the Last of Us guy rebuild a whole subway system.
Well, and Craig Mazin talked about in the audio podcast for this episode that like that's kind of the reason why this show takes so long to make. It's like they gotta build like massive sets like that.
But start building them today. Craig.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
They do,
saying?
and
And
it still
force them
takes
to
that
work
long.
through the night. No breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
No
House
bathroom breaks, no water breaks.
House of the Dragon, they built like most of
dragon.
that
Castle was
the castle and like the city square and stuff, and like
Yeah.
you know, it is incredible to see these
they
like
built the dragon, but they had to kill the
they had
dragon.
to kill it.
Yeah.
You can't, what are you gonna do?
The
with it?
dragon started
We don't have
talking
any other
about
shows that need a dragon. Sorry.
tariffs and a lot of messed up political things. They had to put it down.
I'm just saying, do your own research.
Wouldn't do the vaccinations. Died of the measles.
Now, John, as our resident video game player
Sure.
of The Last of Us, with this Isaac backstory, we got,
New
that's totally new.
info. You know, you get a little bit of like Isaac torturing a Seraphite, but it's like Abby and a couple of other people are like, they need to go talk to Isaac about something, and they like grab him after he's like finished torturing this guy. So we kind of like see the aftermath of that scene, but there is no like him as a Fedra agent, him turning on his Fedra people. I didn't go back and look at the credits. Was that not Josh Peck as one of the Fedra agents?
I saw
I don't know.
Eric write that in the breakdown.
Okay, great.
I did not notice
I
it
recognize-
until
I was
like,
until
is that
I read it
The
in
guy
the
telling the
breakdown.
story,
Yeah.
he looked very
Josh
familiar.
Peck.
I was like, who's this douche? And then like when Eric put it in the breakdown, I was like, oh,
He
was
did a
it?
good job. He did a good job.
I mean, I
He was
love-
an absolute douche.
I like the juxtaposition of like the young guy that he saved.
Oh, yeah.
And you see
Yeah,
him later
yeah,
being
yeah.
like just totally like
Yeah, he's
gone.
dead on the inside. I don't know if there are any cool gangs in this universe.
Oh,
because,
wow.
because the Wolves suck, the Seraphites
Yeah.
suck, the Fedra agents suck.
How do you feel about the Fireflies?
Well, I don't know. I guess they are the best of the worst gangs. You know,
We assume.
We assume.
We haven't met all the fire. You know, there's
But like,
good bad
you're
blood.
telling me there's not like one gang out there that's like, man, just live and let live.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. The people of Jackson are not a gang.
Yeah, but they're like just desperate survivors clinging together. I want like organized like Disney gangs that wear their like white rabbit jackets and meet up
then for
together.
got shut down, dude.
Then for me, it's the WLF. I mean, they're kind of
That's who
brutal.
you're joining up with?
They're kind of brutal, but like, okay, from the outside looking in, they just killed this guy who destroyed humanity's chance for a restart.
Right.
That feels acceptable to me. As
They
much as we love
But
Joel.
you're talking about the Fireflies.
No, I'm talking about the WLF.
The WF killed a guy.
Joel.
Oh, well, you're saying
But that was
she
like, but that wasn't the WLF. That was the
offshoot.
Fireflies.
Yeah, I think they're like an.
No.
They're,
I know that
no,
they're
it's like
wearing.
some fireflies that like
No.
joined up with
They
the
were
WLF.
fireflies.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Now
they
they're
joined.
WLF.
But are you? I guess you don't. I don't want you
Yeah.
to spoil anything that could be coming up. But I don't know if Isaac sent them to go kill Joel. Or this was like
I don't
we're
think
doing
there's
this
No,
a.
I
for
don't
us.
I don't
think
think
so.
there's a world in which Isaac didn't know that they were going to.
Sure, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we'll get into it more as
Hey.
the season progresses. But and then they kill these religious zealot cultists who are training
Yeah.
little children to murder people.
Yeah, and who like scar their kids
It's
too. which
crazy.
I'm not down with. I'm not down
What's
with
the
scars.
WLF training kids to do?
I don't know. Make sandwiches.
I don't know. I haven't seen any kids running
I don't
around.
know.
That's
That's
right.
true. They eat them.
They eat the kids.
Well, if you think the WLF is awesome, you can get
Yeah.
some WLF
You
merch
can.
right now at nerdriot.shop. We got hats, we got shirts, we got tote bags. And if you're less cool on the
look at that.
WLF, you don't have to get their stuff. You can get this Cordyceps infected shirt. You can get Ellie's tattoo. All sorts of great stuff. There's other stuff over at nerdriot.shop. Check it out. Great way to support the channel.
Put in the chat which gang you would join.
Yeah, which gang would you join? Well, and even if I think the residents of Jackson, they are a gang in that I think gang is the wrong word. It's tribes, right?
Yeah,
And that's kind of what
yeah,
Mason
yeah.
and Druckmann talk about is like the danger of tribalism when it comes to the point where you no longer see the other tribe as people that you can work with.
Right.
Because like we don't know how Jackson reacts if a group of people roll up.
Yeah.
We don't know what they do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We haven't
yeah.
seen that.
Oh
situation
man,
yet.
they're throwing those barrels down, baby. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, Joel says, or I think Maria says, like, there's people at the gates, and Joel's like, well, we have to take care of our own people.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. It frees them out.
You can't just like keep letting them in. Like I don't even know what the process is in this kind of world where I don't think you can trust someone at face
Yeah,
value.
how do you-
like
how do you
how
get
long
them?
do you let them in the town
Yeah.
for before you know they're
You got to
safe?
do a
Right.
credit check, background check. I mean, on The Walking Dead, like when they go to that one town, they have that therapist who like videotapes them, and she's like, "Oh, tell me about your childhood trauma." And then they're like, "Is this necessary?" But that turned out to not be a great idea either.
No group in the Walking Dead
Yeah,
ever turned out to be
exactly.
good. They think they find a nice place and they're like, oh, what's in here? Oh, heads in an aquarium. Lovely. No, we gotta leave. We gotta go.
But like, it's hard to be good in numbers in an apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the point, right? Like the danger
Yeah.
of tribalism. It is the one thing that made humanity what it is, right? We were able to work together in groups, but at some point, our group becomes. You have to cut off your group,
Yeah.
right? And then you get suspicious of the other group. And in a world where it's
all
like,
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
Man. Everything devolves into Lord of the Flies eventually.
yeah. So I don't know.
So
who
the
best
answer
gang
is just the answer is just be those two guys in a house together and never let anyone come near your house until you both
Isn't that
die.
ideal? Is like,
I mean, Jackson seems like the best example, right? They are working towards
Some
the
sort
most
of
common
normalcy.
good.
Yeah,
but again, we
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen how they deal with crime in Jackson.
Right. We
You know.
know there's at least one who doesn't like lesbians. So
Right. And they haven't kicked him out of the town.
yeah.
They made him make some
made him
sandwiches.
you can't
Apologize.
kick someone out of the town for saying
That's-
something fucked up.
Right.
You can't
You
kick
can't?
someone out for
That's a
that.
death
I
sentence.
would. Come
See,
to my town.
Gina would be in Jackson. We're like, okay, well, that's the rule.
It's Gina
I'm gonna keep
I'm-
trying more
yeah.
effed up
Gina?
things to say.
Listen, we
and
all
Kevin
know
Jonas
I'm a
and
terrible
like two other
dictator.
people that maybe live in New
In
Jersey.
the apocalypse, I am going to turn into a terrible dictator.
Oh boy.
And you know what? Maybe you need that.
Yeah.
Boy. What I did like though. I thought it was impressive. I think the line from like the Seraphite when Isaac is interrogating them about saying like plenty of like wolves come and join us.
Yeah,
None of the
yeah.
Seraphites ever come like want to get out. Now we also don't know if that's because if you want to leave the Seraphites, you just get killed immediately, right?
I mean, you have to be pretty serious about signing up for a group if they make you scar your face. Like,
Right.
it's not just like, hey, we got you a friendship bracelet, and you're like, I can cut this off if I change my mind, right? But, like, once you've scarred your face, you got to be like, all right, I'm in this now. I can't leave.
There are members of gangs who get tattoos on their
That's
face and then
true.
eventually get out.
That is true.
Right.
That's true.
But this is a world where you have way less options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have fewer options, but I also think like even the options that you have are rumors, right? But I can't remember what the line of dialogue was in this most recent episode, but they were surprised to see so many people in Seattle, right? Wasn't there a piece of dialogue that was like, oh, we had heard rumors of this one thing, but clearly something different had happened?
that was sort of like a theme throughout, because at one point, when they're counting the clickers, they're like, I heard one clicker.
Yeah.
And then she like gets up to 4,
clear.
and then it's like, blah, 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 blah,
I
all
think it's
these
when
clickers.
they hear the radio that there's a fight, they look out across the way and they see where the fight's at, and they're like, oh, this is way more
No,
people.
but also Dina is also counting the clickers at one
Right,
point
yeah.
based on their noises, and she's like, oh, 4, oh God, there's 4, and then like they just come out in
the
a stream.
wolves also thought that building was empty.
Yeah, there's like always more popping up where you never expected. But you're right, there probably are much more survivors that, especially if you're like the people of Jackson, who most of those people aren't going on raids or anything like that. Like
Yeah,
they're
do the
just
patrols, right?
Yeah, like they're not going on patrols, they're not really going that far, so they probably aren't seeing other people. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, yeah, I don't know, maybe there's 100 people left, maybe there's 1,000. I have no idea.
Yeah. You also don't know, and this reminds me of, the original 28 Days Later. It's like, do they know if it's the whole world?
Right, yeah.
I guess
Someone in the chat says there were rumors that Seattle had gotten bombed.
Oh, that's right. They do say that.
That's right.
It's just like
Chat.
it could even be like, and this will happen later in the show, so I'm not going to be specific. I don't want to spoil it, but like, there's going to be rumors that there's another place to go, and it's like, how do you decide, like, I'm going to leave this group of people, they're not doing things the way that I like, they're doing bad things. How do you say to yourself, okay, now I'm going to risk my life to try to go somewhere that might be worse.
Right.
It might not exist.
Also,
everyone there might be dead. Everyone there might be infected. That's
Also, how
really
do you
hard.
even get out? Like, all these places have patrols on the walls. I would imagine you can't just be like, can I move? Does anyone want to buy my house? I'll sell it at escrow.
What's the Zillow value?
Yeah, like I don't think anyone's just like walking out the front gate and being like, "Hey, I'm gonna join up with like another violent gang right now."
Yeah.
I imagine you have to plan a whole escape from these, especially
Right,
if you're a Seraphite or a wolf.
Or a wolf, because if you leave the wolves, they assume you're going to go be a Seraphite.
Right, exactly, and I think the Seraphites stick together because of like religious, their religious devotion. The wolves are a different story. That's probably why they lose more of them, because they're more. It's like the Seraphites are more fanatical.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how much they explain of what the infrastructure of the wolves looks like. Because as I said, like, we haven't seen any kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't see where they live or like what we know that there's Isaac. He appears to be a leader. They have some sort of like cohesiveness in that they're a military. I mean, they don't march in step or anything like that.
Get better.
But are there like governors? Are there like many people in charge? Or is there one? Yeah.
We want to shout out our sponsor today, Miracle Made, whose sheets are keeping us sleeping at the perfect temperature all night, every night. I've been sleeping on a set of Miracle sheets for a few weeks now, and it's been quite the upgrade, and I can't recommend them enough. These sheets are crazy comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. Miracle Made's fabric was inspired by NASA, so it's thermoregulating, keeping your bed at the right temperature all year long. Miracle Made sheets are infused with silver to keep away werewolves, and they also prevent bacterial growth. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne, so sleeping on Miracle Made sheets is good for your skin, too. Upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code BREAKROOM at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. 3 towels is very nice. I've only got 2, and I wish I had 3. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom and use code BREAKROOM to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/breakroom to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle, for sponsoring today's video.
Well, and the title of this episode being Day One
Yeah, I
is
was confused by
significant
that.
in a few ways. And I don't know if you consider this a spoiler. If it is, it's very, very light. In the game, you play as Ellie in Seattle, and there's like 3 days of you being in Seattle, and it kind of gives you chapter markings. And then you go back and see perspectives of different characters at the same time. And so this episode being called Day One and us not seeing the perspective apart from like a couple of little Isaac moments tells me that they're going to go back and show you all the things that you're like, oh, I wish I could see this and that and that. And you will see it. I don't think we're going to see it this season.
Yeah.
Or they could do
next
Day
episode
One.
could be Day 2, or next episode could also start with Day 1.
Day One from the other side.
From the other side.
Yeah, Mason and Druckmann on a podcast, they were very clear that like, Isaac's story does not get resolved in this season.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that's not going to be resolved. And they were very much like, it was risky because we didn't know if we were going to get a season 3. It was like, they knew they were going to.
Yeah, they knew.
Because didn't they greenlight season 3 before season 2 started? Like
HBO loves to say like the week before we're going to do another season.
Yeah, just to boost numbers.
I was like, you have some sort of idea. They tell you your ratings. They tell you how much like the budget is. You go in and you pitch them. Hey, here's what I would do if I was doing a season 3. So you're talking to execs. Yeah, and you can tell if they're like, well, that sounds dumb, or if they're like, oh, that sounds fun.
I think that you're right. There must have been a conversation before scripts for season 2 started being written and before the episode order got picked up.
Yeah.
Because I think that if they were going to cram the second game into one season, they wouldn't be doing 7 episodes.
No.
They would have been doing 10 or 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
So there was probably a meeting before even season 2 was greenlit to be like, what are our chances for season 3?
Yeah, I will say also, not to get like too inside baseball, but like when you pitch a show, you usually nowadays pitch 3 seasons at once. So you say like, okay, season 1, we're gonna cover like in season 1, it's gonna be like all of the game, the first game, but we're gonna lay seeds for this, and we're gonna do this specifically, and this will be the arc. For season 2, we'll cover half of the season 2 game, which will then be resolved in season 3. And if you go beyond that, here's a very, very loose thing. And I'm assuming that Mason did the same thing.
Yeah.
He said, like, here's season 1, 2, and 3. And if you want more than that, it'll be some loose blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of each season, while they're deciding if you get renewed, you pitch again. You say, like, okay, so at the end of season 1, I'm going to pitch to the execs that this is a more fleshed out version of what season 2 will be. So that dude has already pitched what season 3 will look like. I also would not be surprised if already half the scripts are written.
Yeah.
He
just went ahead and banged him out.
Yeah.
All by himself.
Wait, I'm curious, like how early you boys knew that she was preg.
Oh, I think I said this last week. My wife is really good, and anytime something seems a little off, it's not even that. It's like one little thing will happen, and
the bear did it in a very obvious way in season 2.
Well,
because I did not track the barf at all.
Okay.
My wife was when it was that line when she was like, I went back to Jesse while you were still in the hospital, and my wife was like, she's pregnant. I was like, what are you talking about?
Well,
you can't just say that all the time. And
the last episode when she saw the Seraphites and she barfed, I remember clocking it and being like, that's weird. It's not particularly grisly. I mean, sure, there's kids dead.
And we'd already seen them in like the grocery store being like super violent and not grossed out by it. Yeah,
like she's a tough chick, so I was like, oh, that's weird that she barfed.
It was a little kid though.
I wonder if something else is going on. And then the second she saw the yeast infection tube, I was like, she's pregnant. There's going to be
the look off screen of like she found something.
Right. I was like, okay, like yeast infection tube. There's also going to be pregnancy tests around. That's what she's seeing. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
Also, worst time to get pregnant is in an apocalypse.
It's not a great
especially when you've just left Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean,
you left like your home base.
There's actual maybe some medical supplies somewhere.
This was my problem with A Quiet Place. Also, it's like I know you got one dead kid and you're trying to replace him, but
I think
do not get
when you're talking
pregnant
about A
during
Quiet
an
Place, that is
apocalypse.
like just my family. When you're talking about The Last of Us, there's some kind of society that you need to continue on. But
also,
I generally agree.
If you're surviving in this time, you should have kids. Like, what's the point of
Right.
surviving if
No,
you're not gonna...
Right.
no. At that point, let the human race
Which is
die out.
fascinating
yourself.
coming from. Oh my
No,
God.
What are you
no. I
doing?
want to survive like as long as I can.
And what's the point?
But
Well, hold on,
Listen, we
hold
don't
on.
need to carry on the human race.
Especially-
this is an Anthropocene thing where
Okay.
we're like, oh, our relation to the earth is the only thing that matters.
Gina's going to become a Seraphite. You're going to become.
No, the Seraphites
a-
have lots of
a
kids.
Jackson
It looks
person.
like.
I'm dead already, dog. I was like, take me.
He's the one from.
I was like,
from
he's
the
my arm.
WLF.
Take the bite.
No, you're right. The Seraphites have kids, but the whole their ethos, again, they're religious extremists, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
you can imagine their ethos is going to be like, well, we're doing this because we're being punished, you know.
No, they're doing it because God
Whatever.
told me to have more
Right.
kids. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't listen. I just think it's irresponsible. You're putting everyone at risk if you're going out on horseback, pregnant,
Well,
and now
she
everyone's
didn't
got.
know when she left that she was pregnant.
She could have said and then turned back and been like, "Hey, I'm pregnant. Gotta go. I'm gonna be peeing every 10 minutes, like while we're on this road trip. So you don't want me around."
They gotta resolve this problem. She knows she can't have Ellie until this problem is resolved. That Ellie will never fully let go until this issue with Abby is resolved.
All I know is
we-
that like Ellie should, like, right as that baby is born, bite that umbilical cord, pass along
It's
her
true.
immunity.
Well, I was gonna say, you saying like being pregnant is like not a great idea, but that's how we got Ellie, right? Her mother got pregnant during the outbreak, so it's like that's how we got Ellie.
Listen, Ellie's causing nothing but problems, though.
Do you think that if Ellie has a biological kid, do you think that that kid could be?
I think
Yeah.
there's a good chance, right? You could pass
But
it
she's got to
along.
bite the umbilical cord.
I don't think you have to do that, but it couldn't hurt.
And you
Let's
gotta,
just
you
do
gotta
it just to be
gnaw
safe.
on it a little bit.
I mean, they haven't addressed, as far as I know. I don't recall this being a plot point in season 1, like in DC, that like, you know, procreate. We have to continue the race. And I haven't heard anything in Jackson about like,
Right.
we have to make sure every viable woman here is like having a child, because that gets messed up, right?
Yeah.
And
I
like
mean, I
again,
would
I don't know
wager-
anything about the WLF yet. Like, what's their purpose?
Yeah.
Are they just trying to survive till their existing numbers are gone?
I would
or,
wager
like-
that there's a pregnancy cult out there. There's some Immortan Joe
For
that's
sure.
like, get these
I mean, I'm sure the
milkers in
Seraphites
here
is
popping
part of
out
that.
kids.
It's
You're
Immortan John.
Immortan
You know what I'm saying?
Immortan
No,
John.
well, but also like, okay, let's break this down too. That is a very heady way of thinking about people having children, but like people fall in love and people have sex, and like that is a natural part of us, and we are like animals,
Right.
And that is part of our biology,
Right.
So like you can't really police that. and
Listen,
say, like,
if I
we
was
can't
in
have
the
kids,
apocalypse,
blah 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 blah.
You
I
have
would
to
take
have
all the
kids.
birth control that was still available to avoid
There's
this.
no more,
Right,
And
but,
it's all
like-
expired or whatever, right?
Yeah, I guess, but at some point you will, if you are fortunate enough to live to an old age in this time, who's going to take care of you if you've
Yeah, you're
not
gonna be
created
South
a
Korea all of a
society?
No, the second I get arthritis, I'm gonna blow my brains out.
Good luck. You're gonna be like,
I can't pull the trigger.
my hands, my arthritic knuckles don't fit in the trigger. Oh goodness. That was dark. Very dark. Another one of our sponsors today is Vessi. LA's been having really weird weather lately. It'll be like sunny and then it'll rain for like 45 minutes and then kind of be spitting mist at you for the rest of the day, and the cars drive by and they splash it up on you and they say, get out of the way, this is a car town, no pedestrians. It's the exact kind of weather that makes you appreciate having a pair of waterproof sneakers, and that's what Vessi makes. Having a pair of Vessis means you can still walk the dog, go get coffee, run into the office, and do whatever else you want without having to lug around a pair of backup boots with you in case your shoes get wet. Because Vessis, they keep your feet nice and dry. Every pair of Vessis is lightweight, weatherproof, and durable enough that you can wear them every day without having to worry about wearing them out. Lately, I've been wearing the weekend sneaker, and you know what? Don't tell anyone. I wear it during the week also.
What?
They can't stop me. Don't try and shoehorn me into a situation where I can't wear my shoes wherever I want. There's zero compromise with a pair of Vessis. They're the best looking sneakers I own, and somehow the most functional ones too. And I appreciate that. Make every day a little easier. Visit Vessi.com/breakroom now for 15% off your first pair and at checkout, and start exploring with confidence. Thank you, Vessi, for sponsoring the show and keeping my toes dry. What was your favorite moment from the episode?
I mean, I cried during the Take on Me.
I mean, it was incredible acting.
And I thought
And
it
Bella
was,
Ramsey did play the guitar.
and
She
they're
can play the guitar
a
and
very
sing.
good singer.
Yeah.
I had no idea. You know, I loved the little insertion of the antioxygen or
Oh
water,
yeah, moisture.
Oh, yeah.
moisture things.
Moisture things.
I was
How
like,
happy-
how do you find not only finding a guitar that works?
Yeah.
You could have used any of those old guitars. The guitar strings are what. is,
Yeah,
like, hard.
I think that is like one of the things that Mason is good at is
Yes.
like the attention to detail
Yes.
that other writers might not think about, right? Cause Lost is brilliant. All those writers are brilliant. And everything that happens, you can explain away by being like island magic, but like there is the shot where Charlie's like, I don't know if I'll find my guitar, and they're like, look, and John Locke goes look up, and he finds his guitar, and it's like still in one piece, and it still plays perfectly after like a plane crash.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think Mason was probably like, how realistically, how could a guitar have survived this long with no mold, no moisture damage, no this? Oh, someone who really cared about their guitar put a shit ton of these things in there. He does
Silica
that thing
pack.
well.
And I appreciate that, like when Ellie sees them, she knows what they
It's
are.
actually not silica packets. In researching for the breakdown, it's not silica packets.
Yeah,
because
get him, Gina.
No,
Hey,
no,
you know what?
it's because the
Pixelated Soul.
No, don't blame this on someone else.
no, you could
What the fuck?
you can look it up. It's more similar to like what they put in sort of like cedar chests to keep it dry. Silica packets, the reason you don't put those on guitars is because the chemicals in there like themselves can alter the guitars.
Yeah.
So they are
And the guitars will eat them if you don't.
exactly.
If you don't put too
Yeah,
many.
I did some breakdowns.
But she was so excited just to see the packets. 'Cause
Yeah.
She knew. I think in this scavenging society, like anytime you see like the anti-moisture stuff, you're like, oh,
Right.
we're in good business here.
Yeah.
Because we were talking too, like no one's making new clothes, right? So you've got to keep finding good old clothes that have been kept well.
Or you got to get someone who's like good at darning socks.
Yeah. But I do appreciate
Or else
about,
you'll have wet feet.
Yeah, or else you have wet feet.
I do appreciate that about the show's attention to detail. Because even in season 1, when they're siphoning gas, and he doesn't know how a siphon really works, no one really does. He even explains that the
Impossible to
gasoline
know.
is already breaking down, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's a
yeah.
problem you're gonna have. Like I hate in like movies where they deal with this kind of stuff. Where
Yeah.
like they find a car that's been sitting there for any more than 5 years.
Right.
And like the tires are fully inflated and the engine started
Yeah.
right away. Like in Jurassic World, what was the second Jurassic
Dominion.
World? Dominion?
Yeah. Oh,
no, that was
no,
the
no,
third
no.
one. The Fallen Kingdom?
Fallen Kingdom.
When
They
they're
find
on
that Jeep
Isla
or
Nublar
whatever.
and they find the Jeep.
Listen, I go on vacation to
And
New
it
Jersey for like
starts
a week
and
and a
it
half, and my
drives.
car's like, good.
We all did it,
all
COVID.
right, it's
where we were
just-
like, you got to start your car every 3 weeks. to
right,
make sure that
exactly,
it doesn't-
exactly.
That's what doing a COVID is?
Yeah,
Start your car every
I
3
think
weeks?
so.
I did really like the torture scene. I mean, it was hard to watch,
was
but just like
a great little
Jeffrey
monologue.
Wright is just
Yeah.
so
I mean,
good in everything.
He's great, but also just seeing the guy put his hand out, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you gotta kill him
see it,
now.
And Jeffrey
He's
Wright
done.
is so good that you see it on his face, and he's like, "Oh, this is pointless." Instantly, without
Yeah.
even saying anything, he's like, "Oh,
What-
more torture is pointless."
And I love kind of we're introduced to Isaac in this very like profound moment where he's like, these idiots, these fascist a-holes they don't even know this ruined society. I'm gonna blow them all up with a grenade and save this little greenhorn who's like such a you know, I can save him. We can treat him right. And I'm with the WLF now. We're gonna do the right thing. And then the next time we see him, he's just as bad as what he hated before. You know,
Because everyone justifies their own cruelty.
Right.
Everyone can justify the stupid soldiers in the truck justified their own cruelty because like, oh well, we have people to report to and we're following orders and blah blah blah. But then now Jeffrey Wright is like, well, they're hitting us, and if we want to survive, we have to take them out. And if I want to find out where they're going to hit next, I have to torture this guy. Everyone in the post-apocalyptic world can justify their own cruelty.
Yeah.
Can find ways to justify their own cruelty.
Can the WLF vote?
a
Do
good
they get
question.
to vote?
I bet they don't have
Because
voting.
then he could be redeemable.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they vote.
And we assume that like
Oh my gosh.
whatever infrastructure, it's like whatever infrastructure Fedra put into Seattle, I guess is what provides them power, gas.
Yeah.
They have gas for this gas stove.
Yeah.
They have vehicles.
gas
They're still
lines.
getting gasoline, or they have enough gasoline. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm immediately like, how? Because Jackson, right? We saw that, like, okay, they set up this hydroelectric plant. They got it working
Right.
again. It powers the city. Like that explains how they have some of what.
Well,
they
there's
have.
no water in Seattle, so it's not like they could do that.
Like a dam? Is that what you're saying? Are you
a
calling
little-
me an
I'm
a-hole?
being a little sarcastic. No, but you know, like I'm sure
Fedra had
it's
fixed the
Seattle,
power,
right? Like
yeah.
I feel like it would be easier to figure out how to get power to a city like Seattle
Yeah.
than it would some random community in Jackson.
I mean,
right?
listen, the best thing for this is to read the book, The Stand, because it goes into like when these community, like the logistics of, okay, well, we have a guy who used to work at the power
Right.
plant. He's telling us we need X, Y, and Z to do this. It'll take this much power to power Las Vegas, like blah, 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 blah. And I would just imagine that it's a similar thing here where, you know, like random groups of people survive. If all of New Rockstars survived, we'd be screwed. We don't have an engineer among us.
Well,
we don't
we
have
have
an
Berg.
architect. Yeah, Berg could probably
we
figure
do
it out.
Berg. Berg would keep us alive.
Berg wouldn't know what to do, and then he would find one book. And
Yeah,
he
and
would
he'd be like,
put it
okay,
together.
now I'm an expert. But yeah, like logistically, they probably have someone who's a hunter who taught everyone else to hunt. They probably have an engineer who's, you know,
Yeah.
like passing along, like, oh, here's how you know, can structure buildings so that they're more secure against.
In the same way
against
that we
hookers
saw
or
Joel
whatever.
with Dina
Right.
working out the fuse situation.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. You know, like they probably have someone who's an amateur mechanic, someone who's an amateur handyman. There's probably some guy who's like, okay, if we get these generators going, it will give us X days worth
Yeah.
of power. And in the meantime, we need to find more gasoline or like make more gasoline
Well,
somehow.
bad news. That guy's hanging from the rafters now at the
True.
TV station.
Ah,
and his guts spilled out.
not gasoline Dave.
I hope he wrote it down. He was gonna tell me tomorrow. Oh,
You just
gosh.
use the intestines to siphon the gas out of
Yeah.
Gasoline Dave.
Speaking of, that was my favorite sequence of this show, of this episode.
Yeah.
Was like when they
The
get to
TV.
the news station. That was the most
Oh, yeah.
video gamey I think the show has been. Where it
I
was
like that John was like, oh, lovely guitar sequence. I was like, when he tortured that dude. And You're
Yeah.
like, when those people were hanging and their
I love
intestines were out.
to see some eviscerated people, dude. No, I just liked it because it was like they find it, you hear like generic video game dialogue off screen,
Yeah.
and you're seeing, and the camera even like zoomed
Yeah.
out to like this
Yeah.
overhead shot to kind of show you where everything was.
Well, when they're crawling through that like tight space, also
Yeah.
when Dina's like, we can fit, they can't.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just
That
like,
was
oh, this is
like,
so.
that's a line straight
This
from a
is like
video
you
game,
like
right?
hitting buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crawl.
Also, like, how do you not get shot up the ass when you're crawling through that way?
Listen, it's hard to
There
shoot
was a-
into
there was
the
a-
dark.
I was thinking too, like when they needed to like escape that area, I was like, go back up to the hole. The quickest
I
thing,
don't
go through
think-
the hole.
I think
but
that-
you don't know what's on the other side.
Yeah,
of the hole.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yes.
Don't just go in a random hole.
Right.
Well, hold on. Kids at home.
You never know what
If you
you're
do
gonna
the
find.
cocaine that we were
All
just
right,
talking
stop.
about, you can go into
No,
a
that was
rabbit
the other show.
Smoke some meth. Go in a hole.
No, don't do it. But yeah, I liked the two big action sequences. I thought were like really
Yeah,
cool
they
in
were
this
really good.
episode.
They were
And, like,
really good.
Just that whole set for the underground subway station
Oh,
was nuts.
You know that theater set. I know we're gonna spend more time there next episode. So gorgeous.
it's beautiful.
That like old school theater set, and that also is like in the game. They go to like an old theater. But cool. What a cool place to hole up. Like I'd be like, I'm just gonna live at this theater. It's
Right.
got great
It
acoustics.
stinks. I don't know. Everything must stink in this world.
Yeah, it
That's all
must
I
be
can think
very
about.
musty.
everything
Old
smells like
theaters
mildew, for
now
sure.
are musty
Yeah,
smelling.
yeah,
Like I can only imagine in 20 years what they're gonna smell like.
So there's a change in the show from the game. We had previously talked about this in episode 2, where Dina and Ellie are intimate for the first time in Eugene's kind of weed den.
Oh, okay.
The changes in the show, it pushes it to this moment. What did you guys think of that change? And specifically, like, I found it to be a little, and obviously my opinion here is a little colored by the fact that I played the game. I thought it was strange a little bit to be like, you know, it was like a big info dump. I'm pregnant.
Oh, now
I'm
for me.
immune. Now we're going to fuck. And I
Right.
guess that, like, it is true that people have sex when they have like all these
lot
heightened
of stress
emotions and all that
and-
kind of stuff
yeah.
often. So I understand it, and I, you know, maybe that's what they were playing on. But I thought it was a little out of character for both of these people.
Yeah.
In a sense,
I
especially
do-
like
I-
if you watch this person just get bit by
Yeah.
a thing, and now
Right.
you're gonna be swapping fluids.
See, that was my thing, was she still had an open wound that was bleeding, and I was like, yo, your fingers are not getting near my vagina until
Yeah.
that is like disinfected and wrapped, because
Right.
all she needs is like a little blood
I
drop.
think it was the other hand. I don't remember.
I mean, do you
be
think
Ellie's
she's not
right on.
switching hands at some
I
point?
don't
She's like,
know. I was
cramp. Let me switch it here. Yeah, I admit that I was like, Man, okay, I would have questions. I think they're young. They're full of hormones.
They are young.
But yeah, if it were me, I'd be like, all right, slow down here. You're clearly still with your ex-boyfriend. He made you pregnant. I've got an open wound that's oozing on my arm. Maybe we just cuddle and tell each other what movies we like.
Well, you're both monsters. I found it beautiful. Having not played through the game, I thought it was like a very sweet moment. What I liked about it was just kind of, Dina falls in love in the guitar moment. This all happens in like less than 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Falls in love in that moment. They go through this like, Dina's reeling with like, I'm pregnant. What the F am I going to do? She sees like kind of, she falls in love with Ellie even more so than she was already feeling love for her, obviously. Yeah. She's probably like, we're going to do it. We're going to make this work. She even says in that moment, like, Joel taught you well or something about the guitar. I think, John, I think it's like a bigger
switch hands when one gets tired.
Can we have 2 moments of sincerity? Is that too much?
I'm being sincere. Your hands might cramp up.
That line is more that like it's not just the guitar; it's your finger. No, it's not just the guitar, but all of Joel's like best quality. This
Joel
town
taught me my fingering.
My fingering is. Sorry, were you trying to finish the thought? And Gina and I were just being perverted teenagers.
You guys, this town, like
the chat is just as disgusting.
Hey,
by the way.
I already know
Listen,
that.
let Brandon get
I don't
his
do
sweet
this show
thought
with
out,
Jack
and then we can
for a
talk
reason.
more about guitar fingering.
No, it's Joel has taught you like everything he knows, right? Like Joel meant so much to Jackson. He was so smart. He was helping the town grow. They had a huge, big memorial for him. I don't think anyone else got as much memorial as Joel got, right? And it's like, it's not just the guitar, but like, all of Joel's, everything Joel knows, and you're going to be my savior. And like, you're going to help us raise this child, blah, blah, blah. Then Ellie gets bit and she's like, holy crap, I'm going to have to blow this girl's brains out.
Yeah.
I love her. What am I going to, I'm going to be alone in Seattle with these maniacs.
Yeah.
And I'm pregnant. And then it's like, she stays up all night and sees that Ellie is not changing, is fine, goes against all the rules. Everyone changes pretty quickly. Like, has defied the odds. She's still Ellie. And in that moment, she unburdens her biggest secret, which is pretty new for her, but like she's suspected she's pregnant, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant.
Yeah, she
and
does
it's
give
like,
her a look. Yeah.
Now like they are both fully honest with each other for the first time, and then they embrace. Do they smell bad? Yeah, it probably stinks. But it's a beautiful moment.
If you tell me that like you got bit and you're immune, my follow-up question is gonna be: if we have sex, can I get that?
How is they gonna know? You don't get a pamphlet from the cordyceps.
Yeah, but that's why I'm not having sex in the middle of Seattle when there's an open wound.
What about just
involved
hand stuff?
I mean,
that's all we got.
I'll do some 16 years old dry humping. That's as close as I'm getting. Just some furious dry humping, and then you fall asleep tired.
I will do legal age stuff. Please.
They're all of legal age at this point.
She's not 16.
No, I just meant like that thing that 16-year-olds do before they know about sex, when they're like, get.
New Jersey is a weird state, everyone. Well, here's the other kind of odd part of that scene, which is like before Dina really says anything, and I think it's before they've hooked up, Ellie proclaims herself as the dad of this child.
Yeah.
Right? And I think
Bold,
if Dina had been like, can you help me or whatever, like that makes a little bit more sense. But I'm like, obviously you have a huge crush on this girl. You're super in love with her. You'll do anything for her. You said 5 minutes ago that you would die for her. That's a little presumptive, Ellie.
Yeah.
I think you kind of spoke about it earlier, though, with like it takes a village. I think for these people born into this world, especially, and they've been living in a town like Jackson, I would assume that like, everyone kind of like, the village does raise the child in a lot of ways. And that's something that has been a part of human culture before, like pre-agriculture, right? A lot of like hunter-gatherer societies, it was a situation where like, you didn't always know who the father was, because in your tribe, there wasn't like the coupling that we have now, where it's just a man and a woman together only. Like it was more that like, we are a community, and together we have children, and together we raise children. We don't know who the father of all the children are, but like as a community, we're raising them. Some communities, they wouldn't even like name a child until they were like 3 years old, because like, you know, who knows? An infant is kind of like a blank slate.
Yeah, and by the time
eventually
they're 3,
grows a
you're like, let's
personality.
name him Stupid Steve. He
Yeah.
can't figure out
Well,
the colored
and, you
block.
know,
I forgot to give him that little baby helmet when he was a kid, and he
At
kinda
a baby,
bashed it
you're the
around.
most risk of dying too, right? Like
Yeah.
you're the weakest. You know, from whether like infection or just like natural cause or whatever. But like if you make it to a certain age, then like you're more likely to live on.
Yeah.
So I took it as like she's just so excited.
I think she
know.
thinks they're going to be together from
Yeah.
this point on.
Well, that too.
Which
Yeah.
would merit
Right.
a
I
conversation
think
in my
so.
book. I think you'll be
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Are we live in a village with the biological dad of this baby? Is that going to be sort of weird at
Maybe the
Thanksgiving
plan is to
time?
I mean, I don't know if they're
back.
going. I don't think they plan on going back.
You know?
I don't know. They think they're going to own Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the chat said something very sweet, scrolls and scrolls ago, so I don't know who it was, but they said Ellie's going to be the best dad because she had the best dad, and that is very sweet.
That is sweet. I don't buy it. I think she's too emotional.
I-
Like she's too like she has her emotions are so repressed.
She'll be a good dad. She'll have the child leave the room if she kills someone. She's like, you shouldn't have to do this.
Look away. Start working on that puzzle I brought us back from the closed Walmart down the street.
I did. When I
There's
was
a little girl who's a wolf. I need you to draw her out to the woods and tell her you're going to have a picnic with her.
Hey,
and then,
Hey, you see that little girl with scars on her face? Why don't you go blow her brains out? Yeah, I think she's just excited to like be there, and
Yeah.
I think it's
they're
also an
both
insurance
excited.
policy. Like, hey, you wouldn't kill your kid's dad, would you? Come on.
So the episode ends, and we kind of have them on this rooftop overlooking some explosions happening in the far distance. They see the hospital way, way, way away. And this is my question for you guys, I think, is like, are we going to continue with Ellie and Dina as they try to reach the hospital, as they try to kind of navigate Seattle and
The hospital
wolves
was
and
where the
Seraphites?
WLF sign
That was the news station in the
Oh,
distance.
I'm sorry.
In a different shot at the end, they kind of see this like almost like a plus sign looking building that has a little red cross on it.
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Yeah. It's a pregnancy test building with a
exactly.
plus. Yes, you are pregnant.
So do you think that we'll continue with Ellie and Dina,
have-
or do you think we'll cut back to Abby and the rest of the WLF and see what they're up to?
I do think we're
during
going to
this
cut
period.
back. But just because I think
slow
we
it
want to
down?
see, to slow it down, especially if they don't want to get too deep into the second game. This would be the best way to sort of be like, okay, yeah, like day one. Like if we see day one from 3 different perspectives or something,
Right.
if it's like day one, then it leads back up to that same moment of that explosion. So we see what caused it, what happened. Yeah, I could see it going either way.
I feel like the next episode's gonna be like a Seraphite episode or something like that.
Yeah, but it's
Where we,
day
like,
one still?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, because it did feel weird to kind of be like, oh, they stumbled upon this like very recent.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a crime scene, a murder scene. I
Yeah.
don't know. So it does feel like, oh, we missed something.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like they want to slow down a little bit. I'm wondering, like, do you think we'll see like any of Jackson again this season?
We got this Eugene episode.
Oh, the
so
Eugene
we'll probably
episode, that's right, yeah.
I assume that will be set in Jackson, although I suppose it could be set
Do we think that'll be a
anywhere.
whole episode, or do you think it'll just be like
I bet you we're just going to get
a scene?
a few scenes, and it's going to matter because of X, Y, or Z. I mean, a
We'll
lot
see
of people
Eugene.
thought that it would be, Eugene finds out that Ellie is immune. I liked that take, but
Yeah.
at this point, now that Dina and Ellie have had this moment, you're kind of repeating a beat there a little bit, so
Yeah.
maybe that's harder.
I think it'll be Eugene and Joel. It'll be Joel, it'll be a flashback, and they'll be eating steak together. And Eugene will be like, you know what? I know this steak isn't real. I know it's just sending signals into my mouth, but it's so good.
And then they both turn into incels
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're like, you've been red pilled.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We've been red pill, buddy. And then they shake hands, and then Seth comes running in like, yeah!
Executive producer Larry David.
Yeah. Perfect. You think we'll see any more Joel this season?
I think we're
we
gonna
will.
at
Flashback?
least get a
I
flashback.
think
there's two or three things
I think
that
they will
I
have
think
to
we'll
do
see
it.
Joel in.
Well, we'll get to some of these super chats and other questions here in a moment, but let's wrap up this episode as we do every episode of the after show. We got to name a fun guy and a Spore Snore. Which character did you really like this episode, and which character Boring.
I love Jeffrey Wright in anything. You could make that guy the Kool-Aid Man, and I would be like, hell yeah, Jeffrey Wright.
That's already
Kool-Aid
cast.
Man.
Already cast. But we could cast Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright, Isaac, great introduction to a character, great arc, great voice. I feel like
Period? Or are you gonna keep
no.
Are you about to give a hot take here?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna. I wasn't a fan of Dina in this episode.
Interesting.
I think like
Wow. Hates pregnant women, hates bisexual.
the second they turn pregnant, I'm like,
Wow.
get out of the club.
I mean, but isn't that
no, just like I just think you're letting a stinky open wound near your
all right.
pregnant womb and vagina.
You didn't like the character choices for Gina this episode.
I didn't like it. I also like at some point you got to be like I would have immediately been like, hey, I'm pregnant. Just took 20 pregnancy tests in there. I think this is probably a suicide mission. Maybe we should go back.
Also, why keep 15 of them?
Yeah.
I think just
I don't want a stick with my pee on it is not going in my backpack.
Yeah.
It's clear that neither of
She
you.
had a cap on it, but yeah, that
Sure,
bag smelled like pee.
caps leak.
That bag smelled like pee.
It is so clear that neither of you have lived 20 years in a post-apocalyptic world, where your biggest concern is a little bit of dried pee on a stick.
That's true.
I'm
Get
not
over
saying
it.
that's my biggest concern. I'm just saying, like, I don't have to make it a concern. I could throw it away.
You can't just
Also,
leave a trail
how
of
many first of all, how many pregnancy tests can you find? Second of all, are they all expired? Third of all, I don't know if women can do this. I'm not a woman.
phenomenally.
Hard to stop your pee when you're going.
Nah.
Okay, there we
Pee,
go.
stop, pee, stop, pee, stop, pee, stop.
Brandon and I don't have that
15
ability.
pregnancy
John,
tests.
who's your fun guy in your sports Snore? I am hesitant to even ask this
Man,
question.
my Spore Snore is Josh Peck. What a fucking douchebag. Loved it. Great monologue, great performance. But that guy sucks.
Well,
My fun guy. Tough to say. I think it's probably also Jeffrey Wright. I try to not do
MVP.
repeats
No,
when we talk
he's
about this, but like,
MVP.
how can
No,
you
it's
not?
You
true.
cannot vote for Jeffrey Wright when
Yeah.
he shows up in something.
very likable, very likable.
I mean, also, I forgot what's her name, Legally Blonde.
I forget the actress's name.
I mean, she's in a billion things, and I cannot.
She was like the woman that Isaac
he
met.
meets up with her.
Yeah, who has a very weird name. Honey Duke.
Honeyduke Sugar Shop. No, she's great in everything. And
Right.
someone just posted
She
like
was in Euphoria.
yeah, and even before she showed up on The Last of Us, someone did a supercut that was basically like, has there ever been a more different
Yeah.
performance in every single
I believe
thing?
she has a great appearance on It's Always Sunny in
God, yeah,
Philadelphia
she's
as
great
well.
in everything. And when she showed up, I was like, oh, this is this season's Melanie Linsky.
Yeah.
Like they're casting like a great, sort of like comedic but serious but awesome actress from the 90s and 2000s to be in this role, and I want more of her.
Yeah. My fun guy was Dina. How could you?
Blah.
Wow.
Dina was great, and just that sequence of Take On Me, just great,
Yeah, it's
great
very
acting, just really good stuff. And I like
If
Dina.
you saw that girl at a party mooning over the guy with the guitar, you'd be like, "Ugh, look at this girl.
I'd be
huh?"
like, great acting job, because that guy sucks. My sports Snore is Shimmer. Get something to do. This
True.
horse is lame.
Oh, I'm really.
Is Shimmer still at the record shop?
I think. Oh
Shimmer's
no!
where
Crap.
Shimmer is.
Listen,
dude.
I.
You know, that
didn't-
horse,
you didn't
if you
see-
get far enough away from that horse, it spawns next to you.
That's what I was wondering. Because
I-
they just cut to them outside of the radio station. Do you think they brought Shimmer? Do you leave Shimmer
I
at
think
the
you
record
leave
shop?
Shimmer.
So
You
Shimmer.
want to
I
be
don't
quiet.
know.
Yeah.
You know where to find the horse.
All I
Same
know is
doors.
I saw someone tweet something that I can't stop thinking about, which was like, in all these post-apocalyptic scenarios, they always have horses which need 50,000
shit.
calories a day, and they
There's
don't
grass everywhere.
and they don't ride bicycles, like which are easy to
There's
fix.
no
and
paved
stuff.
roads. When are you gonna ride a bicycle?
and plus, like, no one rides bikes in Seattle.
Are you crazy? A bicycle? How many tubes are you carrying
Gina-
with you?
I'd rather
Yeah,
ride a
I
bike.
get it.
I'd rather
Gina
ride a
told her-
bike than a horse.
Dina told her mom that she was bicycle, and her mom said no.
How much storage could you put on a bicycle compared to a horse?
Listen, you get yourself a little.
You gonna ride
little
a bike
flower
over the
basket.
mountain?
You could like you.
I
You
would
can
say,
afford a stream with a
Yes,
bike?
you can do anything on a bike. Look to the Europeans.
This is the worst take I've ever heard
No,
in
no,
my
no,
life.
I'm back.
It wasn't
Gina up
mine.
here.
It was on Twitter, but
Well, they're wrong.
I appreciate it.
I'm backing Gina up here, which is very rare. You can probably fit more shit on 2 bike packing bikes
This is insane.
than 1 horse.
Have you ever
One
met a
horse.
horse?
You gotta worry about that horse
You got to
dying.
put 2 bodies on the horse plus all your shit. Whereas if you're riding a bicycle, 1 body each, and personal stuff.
Also, bikes
You've never-
don't die.
You've never
You don't have to worry
bike-packed
about a-
before,
a-
Brandon,
Bikes
and it
die
shows.
all the time.
You don't have to worry
Yeah,
about a
well,
No one is
clicker.
no one
clicker
is
eating
maintaining
your
the
bike.
bike paths here.
No clicker
That's
is
it
eating
for
your
us
bike.
today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel on YouTube
incredible.
and give us a follow on Twitch where we do these videos live.
You can follow at Breakroom and R on all our social channels. Instagram, something that used to be called Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky. We'll catch you next time. Late skaters. Goodbye.